They sent someone to end you. He came back a witness. Welcome to Oculus of the Wise. I am going to need you to stay right here, because what happened to you is not what they told you it was, and tonight we are going to prove it. If you are new here, subscribe right now before we go any further, because this channel exists for one reason: to find the ones who are still standing after everything that was supposed to break them. And if you found this video, you are one of them. Now, let us talk about what they actually did. Here is a fact that psychology has documented, but nobody likes to say in polite company. Studies show that 73% of character attacks are not driven by what the target actually did. They are driven by what the attacker secretly fears they can never become. Read that again. They were not coming for your mistakes. They were coming for your potential. They were coming for the version of you they saw, arriving before you even fully believed it yourself. So they made a plan, a quiet, calculated, coordinated plan. They whispered in rooms you were not invited into. They curated a version of you made entirely from their own insecurities and dressed it up in your name. They gathered their people. They prepared the narrative. They hired someone to go out and find the evidence that would finally, officially confirm what they had been saying about you behind closed doors. And when that person went out, when he actually talked to the real people who knew the real you, here is what he found. Nothing, no dirt, no scandal, no skeletons, just a closet full of well-folded integrity and a life that had already been testifying on your behalf for years without you ever knowing it. Plot twist. They sent an assassin, and they accidentally sent a publicist. Buckle up, because what we are about to walk through is not just your story. It is a spiritual anatomy of why people like you cannot be destroyed, why every attempt to bury you has only ever buried the people who tried, and why the universe is not slow. It is just surgical, and it is working right now. Number 1. They built a case out of smoke, and your life burned it down before they even lit a match. They were banking on contradiction. They needed the private version of you to be different from the public version. That is the whole game. Find the gap between who someone claims to be and who they actually are, and pour gasoline on it. But you never gave them a gap. You have been the same person in the light and in the dark, in the boardroom and in the back seat of a car at 2 a.m. when nobody was watching. You forgave people who did not deserve it, not for their sake, but because bitterness was a weight you refused to carry. You stayed out of the drama, not because you were afraid of conflict, but because you were protecting something inside you they could not see and could not name. And that consistency, that quiet, unshakable consistency, became your armor. When the questions started circulating, when people were being asked to confirm the lie, the answer that kept coming back was the same from every direction. That is not who they are, not even close. They were not defending you. They were just telling the truth. And truth, when it comes from enough unrelated sources, does not whisper. It roars. Number 2. Their greatest weapon against you was silence. Your greatest weapon against them was the exact same thing. They did not fight you with facts. They fought you with narrative. They whispered half-truths into the right ears at the right moments. They let absence do the work. They let you feel the distance of people pulling away without ever understanding why. That is a sophisticated attack. It leaves no fingerprints, but here is what they never calculated. You chose silence too. Not their silence, not the silence of a person with something to hide, the silence of someone who had already decided that their life would speak louder than their voice ever could. You did not post receipts. You did not blast them publicly. You did not scramble to manage the narrative. You just kept living right. And every day you kept living right was another day of testimony stacking up in rooms you never entered. The silence they meant to suffocate you with became the same silence that made people stop and ask, "Why have I never heard anything bad about this person? Why is there nothing there?" because there was nothing there, and nothing is the most devastating thing you can find when you were promised everything. Number 3. The universe did not just defend you. It ran an audit on everyone who touched you. Here is where it gets spiritual, and I need you to hear this part clearly. When they launched that attack, they were not just attacking a person. They were interfering with a divine assignment, and the divine does not respond to interference the way humans do. It does not argue, it does not explain. It simply begins to reveal. Every compliment that came back about your character during that investigation was not just clearing your name, it was shining a light directly on theirs. The more people testified to your integrity, the more uncomfortable the room became for the ones who had been lying, because you had become a mirror. And in that mirror, they did not see you, they saw themselves. Every story about how you stayed calm under pressure made their own instability visible. Every account of your consistency exposed their own chaos. They had called for an audit of you. The audit turned around and looked at them. They were not ready for that. Nobody who schemes like that ever is. They expected a report. They received a reckoning. Before we go further, right now, if you feel like this message was meant specifically for you tonight, leave a comment below and write the word witness. Not because I need the engagement, because you need the declaration. You need to put on record that you see what is happening, that you recognize what has been working on your behalf. Say it, write it, own it. Number 4. They prayed for your downfall so consistently that they accidentally claimed it for themselves. This is the part that most people are afraid to say because it sounds too much like justice and not enough like grace. But the truth is the truth. They were consumed, not casually upset, consumed. Every conversation circled back to you. Every prayer they whispered in private was really a curse wearing a religious costume. And the universe, God, the divine, whatever name you carry for the intelligence that governs all things, does not respond to names or to religion. It responds to energy. It responds to the motive underneath the words. And the motive underneath their words was rotten. So every time they unleashed that energy toward you, it searched for you, could not find a point of entry because you were covered, and turned around and went home. And home was them. You did not curse them back. You did not need to. They watered their own destruction every single time they opened their mouths against you. The things they wished on you are now showing up in their own lives, not as punishment from above, as reflection from within. They pointed the mirror at you. The mirror was patient, and now they are standing in front of it alone. Number 5. Their attempts to make you feel small were confessions they did not know they were making. Every dig they took, every subtle undermining comment, every moment they tried to dim your presence in a room, to redirect attention away from you, to make you feel like you were too much or not enough at the same time. All of it was a confession. People do not work that hard to extinguish something that does not burn brightly. You do not send an investigator after someone you consider irrelevant. You do not organize a coordinated whisper campaign against someone you truly believe is nothing. The very scale of their effort to remove you is the truest measure they ever gave you of what you are worth. Think about that. The bigger the attack, the bigger the announcement. And they announced you loudly, repeatedly, to everyone who would listen. While you were quietly going about your life, they were running a full-time operation to convince the world you were the problem. And all they did was keep bringing your name into rooms that would eventually be able to see for themselves who the real problem was. Number 6. They thought isolating you would break you. It built you into something they cannot reverse. When the silence started, when people pulled away, when you found yourself eating alone with your thoughts and wondering what you had done wrong. That season was not abandonment. That was acceleration. The isolation they used as a weapon became the forge that made you unbreakable. Because when the noise is removed, when the fake connections fall away, when the only voice left is the one inside you, one of two things happens. You collapse, or you discover who you actually are, and you discovered who you actually are. The creativity that came out of that solitude, the clarity that emerged from that silence, the version of yourself that walked out of that season, none of that would exist if they had not forced you into the fire. They thought they were burying you. You were growing roots they will never be able to see or reach or cut. And every single thing they did to isolate you only focused your power more precisely, like a lens concentrating light until the beam became so sharp and so specific that it burned through every obstacle they placed in front of you. Number 7. They traded the irreplaceable for something that could not even last a season. They chose chaos over you. They chose the path that did not require growth, did not demand accountability, did not ask them to face a single uncomfortable truth about themselves. You were the hard choice. You required them to be better, and better was a burden they were not willing to pick up. So they went for easy. They went for familiar dysfunction, for shallow excitement, for the thrill that evaporates by morning. And now they are standing in the aftermath of those choices, watching the shiny things they chased lose their shine, watching the relationships they chose over you turn hollow, watching the platforms and opportunities they built on dirty foundations begin to crack from underneath. Meanwhile, you are building something slow and real and built to outlast anything they could construct in a season of chaos. They traded a diamond for dust. And the cruelest part of that trade is that you cannot unfeel the weight of what you let go. They know what they had. They know what they chose instead. And that knowledge lives with them every time they hear your name or see your face and watch you shine in the exact way they tried so hard to prevent. Number 8. The people who were supposed to bury your name became the people who preserved it. They counted on bystanders. They needed the quiet witnesses, the peripheral people, the ones who barely knew you, to either confirm the lie by silence or amplify it by agreement. But what they found is that even the people who were not close to you, even the ones who had no particular reason to defend you, could not co-sign what was being said, not because they loved you, because they respected you. And respect is different from love. Love can be manipulated, love can be confused, but respect, the kind built by watching someone consistently keep their word and their character in small, unremarkable moments over years, that kind of respect does not fold under social pressure. The same places they tried to bury your name became the places that refused to let it go. And when the investigator left those conversations, he was not walking away with ammunition against you. He was walking away changed, because encountering someone whose life genuinely, consistently, unperformatively reflects what they say they are is a rare and disorienting experience. He came to destroy your name, and your name did not need a single person to lie for it. The truth was already there, already waiting, already more than enough. Now pause right here. If you are watching this and you know someone who is in the middle of being attacked right now, someone who is being lied on and cannot defend themselves, share this video with them tonight, not tomorrow, tonight, because the message they need is right here, and you might be the only person in their orbit who knows to send it. That is not an accident either. You were placed in their life for moments exactly like this one. Number 9. You carry an authority that no title, no system, no committee of enemies can ever grant or revoke. This is the part they could never understand about you, and it terrified them more than anything else. Your authority does not come from a position. It does not come from a platform or a paycheck or a degree or an approval rating. It radiates from something settled inside you that was placed there before any of them existed in your life. That is why people who technically outranked you still felt the weight of your presence. That is why your silence in a meeting carried more gravity than someone else's long speech. That is why they had to work so hard to undermine you, because you never needed them to validate you, and the absence of that need made you impossible to control, and they needed to control you. Because control is the only currency people without real authority understand. The moment they realized they could not buy you, could not bribe you, could not seduce you with titles or attention or inclusion in the right circles, they knew they had a problem. They had encountered someone whose worth did not live in their hands, and people like that cannot be ruled. They can only be reckoned with. Number 10. The investigation they launched was never really about you. It was the universe arranging their exposure. Here is the perspective that changes everything. That investigation was not an attack. It was divine choreography. The universe needed a reason to call witnesses. It needed a mechanism to gather testimony. It needed a formal moment where the record would be set straight publicly and permanently. And your enemies handed that moment over without understanding what they were doing. They thought they were opening a trial against you. They were opening a courtroom where your life would walk in as its own defense attorney and win without objection. Every person who spoke well of you in that process did not just clear your name in one moment. They established a permanent record, and permanent records do not expire. They do not fade with the news cycle or disappear when the drama moves on. They become part of the foundation of who you are known to be, not just in human spaces, but in the spiritual record that outlasts every whisper campaign that was ever launched against a soul that was chosen before it was understood. Number 11. They cannot access the version of you that exists now. That door closed the moment they made their choice. When they walked out, they did not just lose a connection. They lost access to the person you were becoming. And every day since, you have become more. You have grown into depths they cannot see from the outside looking in. The version of you they knew was the rough draft. The chapters they missed are the ones where everything that was supposed to break you became the thing that made you dangerous in the best possible sense of the word. You are wiser now. You are more discerning now. Your peace is not innocent anymore. It is earned and it is protected. The door they slammed shut does not open from their side, not because of bitterness, not because of unforgiveness, but because some seasons are sealed by design. The version of you that exists now was built for a road they disqualified themselves from walking with you, and nothing they could say, no apology however eloquent, no moment of regret however genuine, changes the fact that transformation is not reversible. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot ungrow what you grew. The person they want back does not exist anymore, and the person you have become is not for them. Number 12. They wanted you erased. God wanted you elevated. And there was never any real contest between those two agendas. Everything they did, every whisper, every scheme, every coordinated attempt to push you out of rooms you were supposed to be in, every prayer they whispered against your future, every celebration they held at your lowest moment, every time they looked at your pain and chose to enjoy it instead of question it. All of it was seen, not by people, by something higher, by something that keeps records they will never have access to, by something that was already building the reversal before they finished planning the attack. And now the reversal is not coming. It is here. You are walking into rooms they never expected you to enter. People who once turned away from your name are beginning to turn back with different eyes. Your name is being restored, not through your effort, but through the favor that was always on your life, quietly accumulating interest during every season they thought they were winning. They wanted you gone, and instead you have been made permanent. You have been made undeniable. You have been given the kind of testimony that only comes from walking through the fire without burning. And there is not a single thing they can do about it now, because this was never in their hands to begin with. Here is what you carry with you from tonight. Your character was always your covering. Your truth was always your testimony. Your silence was not defeat. It was the most devastating strategic move you never consciously made. Every boring evening you stayed home instead of running with people who could have compromised you. Every moment you bit your tongue when you could have clapped back. Every time you chose the high road when the low road was faster and felt better in the moment. All of it was accumulating. All of it was building. All of it was being witnessed and recorded by something that does not miss a detail. And now it is paying out, not in pennies. In purpose, they sent someone to find the worst in you. The world found out you were worth investigating, and what they found was light. This is Oculus of the wise. If this message confirmed something you have been feeling in your spirit, but did not yet have the words for, subscribe to this channel so you never miss the confirmation you were sent here to receive. Leave a comment below. Tell me which number hit you the deepest tonight. And share this with the one person in your life who has been carrying a battle in silence that their character is already winning because they need to know. And you, being the one to send it to them, is not a coincidence. Stay grounded, stay glowing, stay chosen. God bless you.